30 Stories of the Truth of Zen, a journey back to the true self and enlightenment. Welcome back, everyone, to Mind Podcast. Reading and enjoying these small classic Zen stories from the forest will help you grasp the unique charm of Zen thought, allowing you to naturally and comfortably experience its essence. Though Zen is profound, its form is remarkably simple and lively, adhering to the principle of no need for words, yet penetrating the heart. Each story in this book fully embodies the wisdom of Zen masters and Buddhist scriptures, containing countless genuine meanings for life. It is truly a valuable book for awakening to life's truths. 1. Reflection leads to awakening. When Zen master Dongshan Liangja attained enlightenment under Zen master Nanyue Puyuan, it happened to be the memorial day of Zen master Yunyan's passing, Dongshan's own mentor. So, Dongshan held a memorial service. A student asked, "What enlightenment did you gain from your late master Yunyan?" Dongshan replied, "Although I was with Yunyan, I never received any specific instructions." The student, puzzled, asked, "If you weren't taught, why do you still honor him with a memorial service?" Dongshan said, "How could I betray my teacher?" The student pressed on, "I still don't understand. You attained enlightenment under Zen master Nanyue, so why hold a memorial for Yunyan?" Dongshan calmly replied, "I don't revere him for his Buddhist teachings, but for what he didn't say. That alone surpasses what even parents can offer." The student continued, "So, by conducting the memorial service, you acknowledge Yunyan's Zen style?" Dongshan replied, "Half of it, but not the other half." The student asked, "Why not fully acknowledge it?" Dongshan responded, "If I fully acknowledged it, I would dishonor him." After Yunyan's passing, Dongshan achieved enlightenment by seeing his own reflection in water. His enlightenment verse goes, "Relying on others to find myself, vague and distant we seemed. Now, walking alone, everywhere I find my true dwelling. This reflection is indeed myself, but now I am not this reflection." To truly understand, one must harmonize with thusness. Even though Dongshan's enlightenment came after his teacher's passing, he never forgot his teacher's unspoken guidance. This gratitude for what was not spoken led him to hold the memorial service and achieve his awakening by reflecting on himself. Affirming oneself, Zen master Danchu Huilang initially studied under Zen master Mazu. When Mazu saw him, he asked, "What are you seeking?" Huilang replied, "I seek the Buddha's wisdom." Mazu said, "The Buddha transcends wisdom. If you still have wisdom, it's demonic." Huilang, upon hearing this, bowed respectfully. Mazu then asked, "Where do you come from?" Huilang answered, "From Nanyue," indicating that he had previously studied under Zen master Shito Shichian in Nanyue, Hunan. At that time, Mazu was well known for his Zen style in Jiangxi, while Shito was a prominent figure in Hunan. Thus, students would either seek Zen teachings from Mazu in Jiangxi or Shito in Hunan. This led to the saying, Jianghu, rivers and lakes, symbolizing the movement between these two influential places. Mazu bluntly said, "You come from Nanyue, betraying the compassion of Master Shito. You should quickly return, for wandering elsewhere won't suit you." Huilang then returned to Shito and asked, "What is Buddha?" Shito responded, "You do not possess Buddha nature." Confused, Huilang asked, "Even insects have Buddha nature, why don't I?" "Because you're not an insect," Shito replied. "Does that mean I'm lesser than an insect?" Huilang questioned. "Because you don't have the endurance," Shito answered. Finally, Huilang achieved enlightenment. Buddhist practitioners must affirm themselves and recognize the importance of their place of practice. There are those who do not understand themselves and do not trust their place of return, blindly wandering until they finally realize, "I wore out iron shoes in search, only to find it right where I stood." Zen wisdom. To live and interact with the world, you must first understand yourself. Be loyal to yourself, dedicated to your work and your position, and do not wander aimlessly, simply because you have not yet been recognized. 3 Clouds and water flow with conditions. Zen master Faiyan Wenyi, after studying Zen under Master Qinghui, struggled to achieve enlightenment. Unable to find the path, he bid farewell to Qinghui and began traveling far and wide. During one of his journeys, a heavy rain forced him to seek shelter at a temple dedicated to Kshitigarbha Bodhisattva. The temple's guest master asked, "Where are you headed, Zen master?" Faiyan replied, "I have no particular destination, I'm just wandering." The guest master asked, "What are your thoughts on traveling without direction?" Faiyan answered, Like clouds and water, I flow with conditions. The guest master remarked. The phrase clouds and water flow with conditions truly embodies the most carefree existence. Upon hearing this, Zen Master Fayan deeply resonated with the idea of complete freedom. Zen wisdom. In our busy everyday lives, we can still live like clouds and water, going with the flow and discovering the beauty of natural freedom and ease. 4. A preemptive strike. A student from Zen Master Dingzhou, a disciple of Shenshu from the Northern School, came to study under Zen Master Bird's Nest. Bird's Nest asked, "Is there any difference between Dingzhou's place and mine?" The student replied, "Not much difference." Bird's Nest, dissatisfied, displayed his great Zen ability, saying, "If there's not much difference, then don't stay here. Go back to where you came from." With that, he struck the student with a stick. The student responded, "If you are truly a master at using the stick, you should strike only those who deserve it. Even though it's a Zen stick, you can't hit people arbitrarily." Bird's Nest said, "Today I found someone worth hitting." He then struck the student 3 more times. After being hit, the student thought to himself, "So this is Bird's Nest's legendary endurance? The Zen stick, used incorrectly, cannot lead to enlightenment, so why strike at random?" As the student prepared to leave, Bird's Nest called out, "Even a blind stick needs someone willing to endure the blows." Hearing this, the student turned around and said, "Since the stick is in your hands, what choice do I have?" Bird's Nest replied, "If you think like that, then I will hit you again." The student approached, snatched the stick from Bird's Nest's hand, and struck him 3 times. Bird's Nest pretended to be frightened, saying, "Oh, the stick of shame, the stick of shame," meaning it was truly unfair. Truly unfair. The student retorted, "Even if it's a blind stick, you should still endure it." Finally, Bird's Nest said, "For such a talented individual to hit you so carelessly is truly a mistake." The student bowed. Bird's Nest immediately shouted, "What calculation is this?" and hit him again. The student couldn't endure it and knelt down, saying, "Good hit, good hit." Truly, hitting someone close is a form of love, and scolding is a sign of affection. Under such strikes, the student finally attained enlightenment. Zen wisdom. We may not understand why Zen masters use the stick. They often communicate Zen teachings through the stick, not as a blind tool, but as a weapon of wisdom. The more the master hits, the more we appreciate their guidance. A well-placed strike earns respect, and a well-used stick brings enlightenment. In truth, hitting signifies closeness, and scolding signifies love. 5. A mind free from external objects. A monk from India, Master Tripitaka, believed he possessed supernatural powers and came before Zen Master Huizhong to demonstrate them. Huizhong, with humility and warmth, asked, "I've heard that you can read the minds of others. Is this true?" Master Tripitaka replied, "It's just a small trick." Huizhong then thought of something and asked, "Can you see where my mind is now?" Master Tripitaka, using his abilities, scanned the surroundings and answered, "Your mind is like a towering mountain, with rivers flowing beneath." Huizhong smiled and nodded, then shifted his thoughts and asked, "Now, where is my body?" Tripitaka once again scanned, this time laughing. How could a Zen master be playing with monkeys in the mountains? Huizhong, pleased, praised him. But then, he entered a deep state of meditation, clearing his mind of all thoughts, embodying the state of no self, no person, no world, and no movement or stillness. He then quietly asked, "Now where is this old monk?" Tripitaka used all his powers but saw only a clear sky without clouds, a still pond without the moon, a world without shadows, and a mirror without reflections. He searched high and low but couldn't detect Huizhong's mind. Exhausted, he admitted defeat. Huizhong slowly emerged from meditation, smiling, and said, "You can read the minds of others, marvelous. But you cannot find mine. Do you know why?" Tripitaka was baffled. Zen Master Huizhong laughed, saying, "Because I had no thoughts. Without thoughts, how can you find anything?" A true Zen practitioner withdraws both body and mind, generating no false thoughts. As false thoughts diminish, actions become righteous, and over time, compassion fills the heart. The strong become gentle, and the ignorant gain wisdom, almost like becoming a new person. With a pure mind, free from even a speck of dust, those who chant Buddha's name without false thoughts will achieve ultimate truth. Zen wisdom. No matter how deeply you hide your thoughts, as long as they exist, others can detect them. Only a mind free from external objects can remain invisible to others. 6. Boundless encounters with conditions. The Buddha had a disciple named Panthaka, who was rather slow-witted. Despite having 500 arhats teach him daily, he couldn't grasp anything. The Buddha called him over and taught him a simple verse. Guard the mouth, restrain the mind, let the body commit no transgressions. He who practices this will cross the sea of existence. The Buddha said, "Do not think this verse is too simple. If you can diligently learn this verse, it won't be easy." Zen, in essence, does not rely on written words. It depends entirely on grasping the inner meaning with the mind. Engaging in Zen practice requires determination and perseverance. Slowly, through the refinement of body and mind, the spirit naturally elevates. And when the conditions are right, enlightenment will naturally arise. The Zen tradition does not emphasize extensive learning. Instead, it teaches that all dharmas are one. Understanding one principle leads to understanding all things, similar to how within emptiness one can realize the true nature. Panthaka recited the verse repeatedly, and one day he finally comprehended its deeper meaning. Once, the Buddha sent Panthaka to teach the nearby monks and nuns. These monks and nuns, knowing of Panthaka's reputation for being slow, were not impressed. They secretly thought, "Can this dull person even teach?" Outwardly, they still treated Panthaka with respect. Panthaka, humble and modest, said to them, "I am naturally dull, but I learned a verse from the Buddha. I'll share it with you." As he recited the verse, the monks and nuns began to chuckle, thinking, "This is just a basic verse we learned a long time ago. What could he teach us?" However, Panthaka continued calmly, explaining the verse clearly and profoundly, revealing many new insights. From this seemingly simple verse, he unraveled limitless Zen principles. The monks and nuns were amazed and praised him. To understand such depth from a simple verse, he is indeed a remarkable person. From then on, they respected Panthaka deeply. Zen wisdom. Zen is a deep experience of the soul. Though the path may seem invisible and hard to cross, once enlightenment is reached, it reveals a true realm that moves the heart. Thus, learning is not about quantity, but practice. 7. The Buddha drinks water. Zen is the discovery of profound wisdom about the meaning of human life, the essence of enlightenment. If the soul is like a desert, Zen is like sweet spring water or a refreshing breeze, providing clarity and guiding the mind into the realm of freedom and transcendence. The Buddha and his attendant were traveling under the scorching sun. Around noon, the Buddha became very thirsty and said to his attendant, "Didn't we just pass by some small streams? Go fetch some water." The attendant took a jar and walked to the stream. But when he arrived, a merchant had just crossed the stream on horseback, stirring up the water and making it muddy. The attendant returned and said, "The stream has been muddied by the merchant. The water is no longer drinkable. Perhaps we should find another stream ahead. I know of a clear stream about 2 hours away." The Buddha replied, "We are near this stream, and I am very thirsty now. Why go 2 more hours? Go back and check again." Though displeased, the attendant took the jar and left, thinking, "I've already been there. The water was dirty. How can it be drinkable now? Why is he sending me again?" He decided to turn back halfway, saying to the Buddha, "I told you already, the water is dirty. Why do you want me to waste time going again?" The Buddha calmly responded, "Wait a bit, and you'll understand. Just follow my instructions. You won't waste your efforts." The attendant, seeing no other option, went back to the stream. To his surprise, the water had cleared and the sediment had settled. Zen wisdom. In Zen, nothing in this world is permanent. Patience is a process, and learning to wait patiently will help you achieve what you seek. 8. Not yet awakened. Mucho Daoming was a disciple of Zen master Huangbo Xian, a monk from the Tang dynasty who practiced Zen in the Longxing Temple in Mucho, modern-day Zhejiang. His teachings emphasized the higher path and directness. Before achieving enlightenment, Master Yunmen Wenyan sought out Zen master Mucho. When Mucho saw Wenyan approaching, he closed the door and refused to meet him. Wenyan knocked, and Mucho asked from inside, "Who's there?" Wenyan answered, "It is Wenyan." Mucho asked, "What do you want?" Wenyan replied, "I've been studying the true nature of Buddha for a long time, but still don't understand. Please teach me." Mucho, being quite strange, opened the door and then immediately closed it again. This happened for 3 consecutive days. Wenyan knocked, Mucho opened the door and then quickly closed it. On the fourth day, Wenyan was prepared. As soon as Mucho opened the door, Wenyan stuck one foot inside. Seeing this, Mucho decisively grabbed Wenyan's collar and demanded, "Speak. Speak now." As Wenyan was about to respond, Mucho pushed him away, saying, "You haven't truly awakened. Like a decayed wooden stick, you are useless." He slammed the door on Wenyan's leg, causing an injury. At that moment, Wenyan suddenly attained great enlightenment. Zen Master Mucho deliberately closed the door for 3 days to ignite Wenyan's determination, forcing him to seek a deeper understanding. Wenyan thrust his foot in the door as a sign of his commitment to awakening. Mucho, in turn, tested him to see if he had truly awakened. When Wenyan attempted to speak, Mucho knew he hadn't yet grasped the essence and pushed him out. Only after being injured did Wenyan attain true enlightenment. Zen wisdom. The first step in learning Zen is to examine your own mind. If you can feel it, your mind will become free. 9. Cake and Zen Master Mucho asked his disciple Zhengjing, "Do you know how to teach the Yogacara doctrine?" Zhengjing replied, "I wouldn't dare claim that. I only read it when I was a child." Zen Master Mucho then took a sweet cake, broke it into 2 pieces, and asked Zhengjing, "What is this?" Zhengjing remained silent. Zen Master Mucho asked again, "Is it called a sweet cake, or is it not called a sweet cake?" Zhengjing replied, "It cannot be called a sweet cake." Zen Master Mucho then called a young novice over and asked, "Come here, what do you call this?" The novice answered, "A sweet cake." Zen Master Mucho laughed and said, "Well, you too can teach the Yogacara doctrine." Zen wisdom. A whole sweet cake is still a sweet cake when broken into 2 pieces. The principle is simple and obvious, even to those who haven't realized enlightenment, like Zhengjing. If you possess knowledge, why hide it or be ashamed to express it? 10. Zen and death. A young disciple, troubled by a question, asked Zen Master Shenchuan Zengmi, "Master, I am ignorant and do not understand the matter of life and death. Please enlighten me." Zen Master Zengmi replied, "Have you ever died before?" The disciple answered, "I have not died, nor do I know what death is. Please explain it to me." Zen Master Zengmi said, "Since you have never died and do not know what death is, how can you understand the nature of life and death? Only by dying yourself can you resolve this doubt." The disciple then asked, "Have you died before, Master?" Zen Master Zengmi replied, "I too have never died, nor do I know the nature of life and death, so I cannot enlighten you on this matter. I have never doubted it, nor have I discussed it. If you follow my example, you will also be able to explain it." Zen wisdom. Life and death cannot be understood through words alone. To resolve such deep questions, one must experience them directly. 11. Zen verses. Zen verses are the chants or songs found in Buddhist scriptures. These verses serve as prophecies, guiding people on what to do after certain events occur. Verses have fascinated Zen practitioners throughout the ages, holding deep mysteries. One such legendary figure was Master Fu, 497 to 569, also known as Hong, from Yichioxia, Zhejiang. A unique Zen practitioner, he lived in the Yunhuang Mountains, where he planted 2 trees symbolizing the twin Sala trees under which Buddha Shakyamuni passed into nirvana. He called himself the future sage of good wisdom, and people referred to him as Master Fu, the sage of kind intent. He often taught his disciples through verses. Once, Master Fu recited the following verse to his disciples: "Every night I sleep with the Buddha. Every morning we rise together. Whoever is struck will accompany me. Whether in speech or silence, we dwell as one. Not separated by a hair, like body and shadow, we are inseparable." If you wish to know where the Buddha is, just listen to the sound of these words. The meaning is that in daily life, whether walking, standing, sitting, or lying down, we always follow the Buddha, just like a shadow follows the body. If you wish to know where the Buddha has gone, your mind must be pure. Master Fu also left behind another famous verse: "Empty hands hold the plow, I walk while riding the water buffalo. People cross the bridge flows, but the water does not." Empty hands hold the plow refers to the body, which, like a tool, must be driven by the mind, just as a plowman drives the plow. "I walk while riding the water buffalo" symbolizes how the body moves under the guidance of the mind, similar to a person riding and urging the buffalo onward. people cross the bridge means that our physical form is like a bridge, and we, the people, are the true master. Just as we cross a bridge in life, our body is merely a passage. The bridge flows, but the water does not, suggests that while the body may age and change, our Buddha nature remains constant, unmoving. Just as a bridge may wear down over time, the water beneath it remains still and unwavering, symbolizing our true nature. Zen wisdom. In life, if we grasp today, tomorrow will follow. Every person has their own ideals. By constantly striving and transforming ourselves, we can become whole. 12. Zen teachings on gain and loss. There was a young man who was very talented in many areas, but his learning did not progress significantly. He sought guidance from a Zen master. The Zen master, after meeting him, said nothing but invited him to a meal. The table was filled with hundreds of different vegetarian dishes, most of which the young man had never seen before. At the beginning of the meal, the young man eagerly wanted to taste everything, and as a result, he overate. After the meal, the Zen master asked, "What did the dishes taste like?" The young man, rubbing his full stomach, struggled to respond, saying, "There were hundreds of flavors, hard to identify. I just ate to fill myself up." The Zen master asked again, "Did you feel satisfied and comfortable?" The young man replied, "I feel very uncomfortable." The Zen master smiled, but said nothing. The next day, the Zen master invited the young man to climb a mountain. As they ascended, the young man saw many rare and shiny stones. He was excited and started collecting them, putting them into his bag. Soon, the bag became too heavy to carry, but the young man couldn't bring himself to throw any stones away. At this point, the Zen master asked, "Shouldn't you discard some? How can you reach the top of the mountain if you carry all this weight?" The young man, gazing up at the peak, had a moment of realization. He immediately discarded the stones and felt light as he continued toward the summit. The young man later left the Zen master, and a few years later, he became a renowned scholar. Zen wisdom. To gain, one must first let go. In life, there are many things we need to release. Only by learning to let go can we live freely, achieve success, and reach the highest peaks of life. 13. The teaching of no words. A young monk asked Zen master Jiashan Shanhui, "Throughout history, the patriarchs have always left behind words to guide future generations. Why do you teach with no words?" Shanhui replied, "For 3 years I have not eaten any rice, yet I am not hungry." The monk said, "If you are not hungry, why haven't I attained enlightenment?" Shanhui said, "It's simply because you are confused and lost. Listen to this verse. Clear and bright, but no enlightenment. Enlightened, yet still confused. Stretching out my legs, I sleep peacefully. No falsehood and no truth." The monk asked, "The teachings of the 12 divisions of the Buddhist canon and the wisdom of the Western patriarchs show that they are enlightened. So why do you say there is no enlightenment and no confusion?" Shanhui said, "The teachings of the Western patriarchs are just the seat where this old monk sits. Why don't you ask about your own understanding instead of theirs?" The monk said, "I don't understand what my own understanding is. I only ask what method the Zen master uses to teach people." Shanhui said, "In the vast emptiness, there are no nails. Why insist on adding unnecessary embellishments?" The monk replied, "I don't understand." Shanhui said, "As I see it, the teachings of the Buddha, like the preaching at Vimalakirti's house, are all unnecessary. If you insist on asking for teachings, you are just adding legs to a snake." The monk finally attained enlightenment. Buddha Shakyamuni taught for 49 years and held more than 300 assemblies. Yet Buddha said, "I have never uttered a single word. This is not mere rhetoric, but the truth. Because truth, whether spoken or not, does not increase or decrease in value. 3 years without eating, yet no one is hungry." Zen wisdom. Zen transcends words, concepts, and intellectual understanding. What can be spoken is not true Zen. The path of words has ended is the principle taught by the patriarchs of Zen. 14. Worship as if the spirit is present. Zen master Yunju Daoying once visited Zen master Dongshan Lianja. Dongshan asked him, "Where have you come from?" Daoying replied, "I have come from Zen master Kuiwei." Dongshan asked again, "What does Zen master Kuiwei teach?" Daoying said, "Every year in the first month, Zen master Kuiwei holds a grand ceremony to honor the 16 arhats and 50 other arhats. Once I asked him, 'When you honor the arhats with such a grand ceremony, Do they actually attend? Zen Master Kuiwei replied, What do you eat every day? I thought his answer was the essence of his teaching. After hearing this, Zen Master Dongshan was amazed and asked, Did Zen Master Kuiwei really teach like that? Dao Ying confirmed, Yes, that was his teaching. Dongshan, excited, asked further, What do you eat every day? Without hesitation, Dongshan replied, I eat rice all day long, but I have never eaten a single grain of rice. I drink tea all day, but I have never had a single drop of water. Dao Ying clapped his hands and said, Master, every day you truly eat rice and drink water. Zen wisdom. Confucius once said, Worship as if the spirit is truly present. Whether the spirit attends or not is one matter. From existence to non-existence, from birth and death to no birth and death, the question of liberation is already a step beyond. 15. The self is the Buddha. One day, Zen Master Lingshun visited Zen Master Guizong. Lingshun asked, Master, what is Buddha? Zen Master Guizong hesitated, looking at Lingshun and said, Hey, I can't explain it to you. Even if I tell you, you wouldn't believe me. Lingshun replied, No, Master. I'm asking sincerely. Why wouldn't I believe your words? Guizong nodded and said, All right, if you are sure you'll believe me, come closer and I'll tell you. He leaned in and whispered in Lingshun's ear, You are the Buddha. Upon hearing this, Lingshun was initially stunned, but then he laughed out loud saying, I am the Buddha. Ha! I am the Buddha. This koan teaches us that seeking the Dharma outside oneself is like riding a donkey to search for a donkey or looking for fish in a tree. In truth, everyone is born with Buddha nature. The Buddha is in the Lingshan spiritual mountain. Don't seek it far away. The Lingshan is within your heart. Don't forsake the spiritual mountain within you. Train the treasure of your nature by looking inward. Zen wisdom. Spiritual practice depends on oneself. Merely imitating or learning from others is like a parrot repeating words without understanding their true meaning. 16. Enlightenment cannot be imitated. Two monks lived together in a small hermitage, but they had not seen each other for a long time. One day, they met again. The monk from above said to the monk below, We haven't seen each other in a long time. What have you been busy with? The monk below replied, I've been working on building a tower without any gaps. The monk above was excited and said, I also want to build a tower without gaps. Can I borrow yours to take a look? The monk below replied, Unfortunately, I should have mentioned earlier, my tower without gaps has already been lent to someone else. The monk above confidently said, That's all right, just let me see it once. The true nature of beings is the tower without gaps. Beyond the perfect nature of Dharma, there is no need for another gapless tower. The Dharma body of the Buddha is the entire nature of enlightenment, which the Buddha relies on for awakened understanding. The teachings of the Dharma body, as revealed in scriptures, are often referred to as relics of the Buddha's Dharma body. In the Diamond Sutra, it is written, Wherever this sutra is found, all the devas, humans, and asuras should make offerings. Know that this place is a stupa. The monk below had realized the infinite Dharma body, thus understanding how to build a tower without gaps to honor the Dharma body. However, such enlightenment cannot be imitated. It is only attained through personal realization. Naturally, the monk below made an excuse that the tower had already been lent out. Zen wisdom. The Buddha does not need to be sought in the external world or pursued outside of one's mind, for the Buddha resides within the heart of every individual. One must turn inward and cultivate the treasure of the soul deep within. 17. Inside or outside the door. Zen Master Yunmen once visited Zen Master Mucho's temple, arriving just as the sun was setting. Yunmen knocked on the closed doors for a long time before Mucho came to open them. After Yunmen explained why he had come, he was about to step inside when Mucho suddenly slammed the door shut. Yunmen cried out, Ouch! It hurts! Zen Master Mucho asked, Who is crying out in pain? Yunmen replied, Master, it's me. Mucho then asked, Where are you? Yunmen answered, I'm outside the door. The Zen Master responded, If you're outside, why are you crying in pain? Yunmen replied, Because my foot is inside the door, and you shut it on my foot. The Zen Master asked, If your foot is inside the door, why are you outside? Yunmen replied, You've separated me into inside and outside. The Zen Master said, You fool! How can one person be divided into inside and outside? Yunmen's mind was suddenly struck as if by a bell. and the illusory distinction between body and mind shattered. At last, he attained great enlightenment. Though Zen Master Yunmen's foot was injured in the door, this opening and closing severed the endless stream of delusions, leading him to realize the truth of non-duality between inside and outside, the principle of equality. Zen wisdom. In the eyes of a Zen practitioner, all distinctions in the world, inside and outside, self and others, good and evil, large and small, are merely illusions. Ordinary people are trapped by these illusions and cannot transcend them. One must break free of these illusions, return to the source, unify the internal and external, transcend self and others. Then, enlightenment is inevitable. 18. To answer or not to answer. Zen Master Yunyuan Dansheng, a disciple of Master Yaoshan and teacher of Dongshan Liangzha, once said to his followers, "There is a person who can answer any question." Dongshan asked, "How many books does this person have?" Dansheng replied, "Not a single word." Dongshan asked, "Then how does he have so much knowledge?" Dansheng answered, "He doesn't sleep day or night." Dongshan asked, "Can I ask him something?" Dansheng replied, "His answer is not to answer." Dongshan asked, "If he has no question that cannot be answered, why does he not respond?" Dansheng said, "Because not answering is the true answer." Zen wisdom. The inquiries in Zen are the blossoming of the mind. They are not spelled out. The power of Zen lies in not speaking everything explicitly. 19. The subtlety of Zen. A man devoted to Buddhism did not understand what Zen was. He traveled far and wide, asking everyone, but no one could give him a satisfactory answer. Zen became like a knot in his heart that he couldn't untangle. One day he visited an ancient temple intending to worship Buddha. After entering the temple, a monk welcomed him. After worshipping, the man said he was searching for a highly enlightened Zen master to clarify the mystery of Zen for him. The monk kindly told him that this temple was a Zen temple and that he would be happy to answer any of his questions to help him untangle his heart. The man then asked, "What is Zen?" The Zen master replied, "Zen is everything." Unsatisfied, the man asked, "What is not Zen?" The master said, "Nothing is not Zen." Although the answer left the man slightly more enlightened, he still felt confused and asked, "How can one distinguish between what is Zen and what is not Zen?" The master replied, "When you believe it is Zen, it is Zen. When you don't believe it is Zen, then it is not Zen." Frustrated by the ambiguity of the Zen master's answers, the man thought the master was playing with him. However, not wanting to be rude, he quickly composed himself and asked, "Can Zen really be explained as simply as, I believe or I don't believe?" The Zen master, understanding the man's frustration, replied calmly, "When you neither believe nor disbelieve, how will you distinguish?" The subtlety of Zen lies in this play of ideas. It is not a matter of conditions or logic, but transcends cause and effect. It's like a child holding two candies and asking an adult how many candies they have. The adult might answer, either one or a pair, but the child could cleverly say, "I've already eaten half of one." At this point, we can't help but admire the brilliance of the Zen master's answer. It is subtle, yet profound. Zen wisdom. The words of Zen often seem unclear, but that is where the mystery lies. One must realize the answer for themselves, discovering clarity in the midst of confusion. The vast openness of understanding is Zen. 20. Answering what is not asked. Zen Master Linji and Zen Master Fenglin had a deep relationship. Once, Fenglin asked Linji, "I have a question to ask you. Will you answer it?" Linji replied, "Everyone knows that Fenglin is a great poet. I don't need to wound myself, but I am curious to hear your question." Fenglin asked, "The moon in the sea casts no shadow. The wandering fish swims alone in confusion." Linji responded, "If the moon in the sea casts no shadow, how can the fish be confused?" Fenglin continued, "Watching the waves rise in the wind, drifting with the water, even the sails float." Linji replied, "The lone wheel reflects the tranquil landscape. A single cry pierces the autumn sky." Fenglin asked again, 3 inches of space between heaven and earth. A single word hits the mark. What do you say?" Linji answered, "When you meet a swordsman, show your sword, but don't recite poems to a non-poet." At this point, Fenglin had no more to say. Linji continued reciting, "The great way has no fixed direction. Go east or west as you please. Neither flint sparks nor lightning can catch it." Later, when Zen Master Weishan read these lines, he asked Zen Master Yangshan, "It moves so fast, Even the spark from flint or the flash of lightning cannot match its speed. How could ancient masters teach people in this way? Yangshan asked. Master, what do you mean? Weishan replied, I just wanted to express it. There is no deeper meaning. Yangshan said, I don't believe that. Weishan asked, why not? Yangshan answered, all words are the Buddha's teachings. All teachings arise from the mind. As soon as the mind moves, it spreads throughout the 10 directions. Flint sparks and lightning are no match for the speed of thought. Weishan agreed. Indeed, the moon in the sea is wonderful. The fish swimming is wonderful. The wind and waves are wonderful. The boat is wonderful. The mountains and rivers are tranquil. The autumn sky is silent. Poets and swordsmen, heaven and earth, all meet in the mind. What does this have to do with confusion or speed? Zen wisdom. Zen practitioners often ask questions because they are filled with doubts about life, the Buddha's path, and the Zen mind. The answers, however, seem unrelated to the questions, but in truth, they are deeply connected, revealing an intricate unity. 21. The wisdom of self-care. Zen master Ling Shun, after studying at Guizhong Monastery on Mount Lu for many years, one day expressed his intention to leave the mountain. He bid farewell to Zen master Guizhong, who asked, Where are you planning to go? Ling Shun honestly replied, I am returning to Lengzhong. With compassion, Zen master Guizhong said, You have studied here for 13 years. Now that you are leaving, let me share with you some essential teachings of the Buddha Dharma. Once you've packed your belongings, come see me again. Ling Shun packed his things and placed them outside the door before going to meet Zen master Guizhong. The master instructed, Come closer to me. Ling Shun followed his instructions. Guizhong gently said, The weather is cold. Take care of yourself on your journey. At that moment, Ling Shun was suddenly enlightened. Leaving before fully completing one's studies in the Dharma is akin to abandoning one's responsibilities. The simple words of concern, the weather is cold, and the encouragement, take care on the road, eventually guided Ling Shun back to recognizing his true self. Zen wisdom. What is the essential Buddha Dharma that Zen master Guizhong referred to? It is the heart of compassion, the Bodhi mind, and the mind of prajna. In a word, it is the Zen mind. 22. Zen beyond self and others. Zen master Buddha Light noticed that Zen practitioner KGA remained silent all day and asked, You've been studying here for 12 years, but why have you never asked me about the way? KGA replied, The master is always very busy, so I did not dare to disturb you. Time passed, and 3 more years went by. One day, Buddha Light met KGA again on the road and asked, You have been practicing Zen and seeking the way, but why haven't you come to ask me anything? KGA answered, The master is always busy, so I dare not speak casually with you. Another year passed, and KGA came to Zen master Buddha Light's room. Buddha Light invited him in, saying, Today, I have time. Come to my Zen chamber, and we will talk about the way. KGA clasped his hands in reverence and said, Master, you are very busy. How could I waste your time? Buddha Light realized that KGA was too humble, unwilling to confront reality directly, and that without active engagement, he would never attain enlightenment. Buddha Light raised his voice and exclaimed, Busy. Busy. I am busy being a person, yet you don't know why I am busy. Upon hearing this, KGA attained enlightenment. The essence of Zen lies in confronting reality directly. When eating, just eat. When practicing, just practice. Ask questions with full attention and answer with certainty. One cannot be vague or indecisive. If help is available, why not seek it? How can there be such a sharp distinction between self and others? Zen wisdom. Some people are too selfish, constantly seeking help for trivial matters, while others are overly reserved, refusing to stand up for themselves, and thus miss many opportunities. 23. The Sixth Patriarch's teachings on Zen. Zen master Shen Hui once visited the Sixth Patriarch. The Sixth Patriarch asked, Where have you come from? Shen Hui answered, I haven't come from anywhere. The Sixth Patriarch asked, Then why don't you go? Shen Hui replied, If there is no coming, how can there be going? The Sixth Patriarch asked, Have you brought your life with you? Shen Hui answered, Yes, I have brought it with me. The Sixth Patriarch asked, Since you have brought your life with you, surely you know the true essence of your life? Shen Hui replied, Only the physical body comes and goes, but the soul does not move back and forth. The Sixth Patriarch picked up a Zen stick and struck him. Shenhui did not flinch and instead asked in a loud voice, "When the master sits in Zen, does he see or not see?" The sixth patriarch struck him 3 more times before saying, "Did you feel pain from the blows?" Shenhui replied, "I felt the pain and yet did not feel it." The sixth patriarch asked, "What meaning is there in feeling or not feeling pain?" Shenhui responded, "Only ordinary people feel resentment from pain, while wood and stone feel nothing." "Exactly," replied the sixth patriarch. "Life must transcend all worldly concepts and discard all illusions and desires. Whether you see or don't see, what does it matter? Pain or no pain, so what? If you cannot abandon the bondage of the physical body, how can you grasp the true essence of life?" The sixth patriarch continued, "You ask for the way because you do not know it. If you knew, why would you ask? The essence of your life can only be seen by you. You are lost, and that's why you've come here to ask me if I can see your life. But life must be grasped by oneself. Why ask me if I can see it?" Shenhui quietly bowed in reverence. Zen wisdom. Pure intention, clear mind. To cultivate oneself, one must first rectify the mind. To rectify the mind, one must first have sincere intent. And to have sincere intent, one must first pursue true knowledge, beginning with understanding the nature of things. 24. Who is the Zen master? Zen master Buddha Light, in his daily practice of Zen, often forgot himself. There were many Zen practitioners from various places who came to seek his teachings. When his attendant informed him, "There are students from afar wishing to meet the master to ask about Zen," Zen master Buddha Light would naturally respond, "Who is the Zen master?" On other occasions, while he was eating, the attendant would ask, "Master, have you finished eating?" Zen master Buddha Light would similarly ask, "Who is eating?" One time, the master was working in the fields, weeding from morning until evening without a break. Those in the temple saw him and asked, "Master, you've worked so hard." Buddha Light respectfully replied, "Who is working hard? Who is working hard? Who is eating? Who is walking by? Who is speaking?" Zen master Buddha Light often responded this way, always forgetting himself while addressing others. Who is the Zen master? In reality, it was he himself who was the Zen master. Many Zen practitioners and students, through Buddha Light's words, found their true selves and realized who they really were. Zen wisdom. The quiet words and actions of a Zen practitioner contain profound meaning. Like our own lives, we should not let external appearances weigh us down. Continue walking your true path, firmly grounded in reality. 25. The true I Zen master Daowu once asked Zen master Yunyuan, "The Bodhisattva Guanyin has 1,000 eyes and 1,000 hands. Which of those eyes is the true I?" Zen master Yunyuan answered, "It is like when you are sleeping at night and your pillow falls to the ground. Without opening your eyes, you reach out and pick it up. Which eye did you use to find it?" After hearing this, Zen master Daowu said, "Ah, I understand now." Yunyuan asked, "What do you understand?" Daowu replied, "The whole body is the I." Yunyuan laughed and said, "You only understand 80%. Daowu, puzzled, asked, "Then how should it be said?" Yunyuan responded, "The entire body is the I." The story of Guanyin with 1,000 eyes and 1,000 hands is one of the most beautiful myths in Chinese Buddhism. Guanyin is a symbol of compassion, offering salvation to all beings. The meaning behind 1,000 eyes and 1,000 hands is to enhance the allure of this compassionate figure, to make people forever yearn for her, seek her care, and find refuge in her endless gaze and boundless compassion. Thus, the whole body is the I refers to a perception based on differentiation, while the entire body is the I signifies the manifestation of wisdom and innate understanding without differentiation. We each possess a true mind, an eye that sees through all things. Why not use it to illuminate the entire universe? Zen wisdom. Zen is a practice of observing being and nature, organizing human thoughts in such a way that our minds can dwell in an eternal and unfathomable state of peace. 26. Deliverance for a dog. 2 monks were practicing Zen together. One day, Monk A found a dog that had died and brought it back, saying to Monk B, "I'll go and fetch some milk for it to drink." After a short while, Monk B realized the dog was dead and began chanting prayers to deliver the dog's spirit. When Monk A returned with the milk, he said, "The scriptures are too profound for it to understand. Let me handle it." He placed the milk before the dog and said, "You've suffered so much in this life. Drink this milk so that in your next life, you can drink milk every day. Deliverance complete." Monk B, standing nearby, suddenly attained enlightenment, thinking, Zen is so simple and natural, filled with love and compassion. Zen penetrates the true meaning of life, overflowing with happiness and peace. It allows individuals to merge their hearts with the universe, living freely and harmoniously. Each of us has the power to create happiness and peace, to love all beings and to be compassionate toward each other. Zen teaches us to become more focused and mindful in our love and work, with more compassion and kindness toward all things. Zen wisdom. Zen cultivates our hearts and blesses others. Zen is simple and natural, following the nature of things. The life of Zen is pure, peaceful, and equal. As long as you have heart and feeling, intention, and love, you can reach the perfect state of living among all things, with your heart above all things. 27. 1 and 3 Zen Master Xuanxia Shibei once said to Zen Master Xuefeng Yikun, "Do you have a staff? I'll provide you with one." Xuefeng replied confidently, "I already have 3 staffs, you can take one." Xuanxia, surprised, asked, "Each person usually has just one. How do you have 3? Xuefeng explained, 3 staffs serve 3 purposes. Xuanxia disagreed and said, "Right is right, I don't use it that way." Xuefeng then asked, "What do you use it for?" Xuanxia answered, 3 is 1. Xuefeng did not agree, saying, 3 is 3, 1 is 1. 3 is 1 and 1 is 3. Like a piece of land where many people farm, everyone relies on it to live. 1 is 3. How can you just say 3 is 1? Xuanxia asked, "On what basis do you say it's 1 piece of land?" Xuefeng drew a line in the air and said, "Look, this is 1 piece of land." Xuanxia replied, "Right is right, I won't say that." Xuefeng then asked, "Why won't you say so?" Xuanxia responded, "That's your business. You live your life, you eat your food, you are the one who's full." Xuefeng then asked, "Since everyone is like that, why borrow someone else's staff instead of using your own?" At this point, Xuanxia recited a verse. Bodhidharma didn't come to the east. The second patriarch didn't go to the west. When it's time to come, one comes. When it's time to go, one goes. Don't use another's staff to help yourself. Don't burden others with your 3 staffs. Zen wisdom. The Zen staff symbolizes the pure nature we all inherently possess. It cannot be said to exist, nor can it be said not to exist. You can't say it's 1, so how can you say it's 3? No one can take from you what is yours, and no one can give you what is not yours. In the interactions between Zen masters, it's about one coming and one going, not about dividing things into 2 or 3. 28. Do not transmit through text. Prime Minister Buihu of the Tang dynasty was a layman studying Zen. He wrote down his insights on Zen practice and compiled them into a book. After completing the book, he respectfully presented it to Zen Master Huangbo, hoping the master would offer his thoughts on the content. Zen Master Huangbo, upon receiving the book, didn't bother to read it and simply placed it on the table. After some time, he asked Prime Minister Buihu, "Do you understand the meaning of this?" Buihu replied honestly, "I don't understand." Zen Master Huangbo explained, Zen does not rely on written words. By expressing the Dharma through black ink on white paper, you are stifling the true meaning of the Buddha's teachings. This distorts the essence of Zen, which is why I did not read it. Upon hearing this, Buihu became even more enlightened in Zen and wrote a verse of praise. Since the great sage transmitted the seal of the mind, I now carry a body like a perfect jade vessel. For 10 years I washed my mind with pure water. Today I crossed the river to awaken Chengtian. 8,000 dragons march along your path. Countless flowers of virtue bloom around you. I wish to serve you as a student, but how do I know who holds the true Dharma? Zen Master Huangbo read the verse but did not comment, saying only, "The mind is vast like the great sea. The lotus nourishes the sick body. In my garden 2 idle trees grow. I've never taken in leisurely people." Zen Master Huangbo was one of the most straightforward and upright figures in Chinese Zen history. He, along with the Zen Master Linji, became founders of what is known as the Fiery Zen. At the age of 65, while at Longxing Temple in Jiangxi, Buihu recorded his teachings in the book Essentials of Dharma Transmission. By the time Huangbo was 72, he had moved to Kaiyuan Temple in Henan, where Buihu compiled his teachings into the 2nd volume of the same book. Despite this, Huangbo never bothered to read the records, demonstrating a rare form of Zen discipline. Zen wisdom. Zen is not written down, it communicates with life in the simplest way. Simplicity is a vast wisdom, clear, swift, and profound. 29. Realizing the essence of the mind. Zen master Guanghui Yuanlian, when first studying the way under Zen master Zhenjue, would handle kitchen duties during the day and study and recite scriptures at night. One day, Zen master Zhenjue asked him, "What scripture are you reading?" Yuanlian replied, "The Vimalakirti Sutra." Zhenjue asked, "The sutra is here, but where is Vimalakirti?" Yuanlian, unsure of how to respond, felt deeply embarrassed by his limited understanding. He asked Zhenjue, "Where is Vimalakirti, master?" Zhenjue replied, "Whether I know or not doesn't matter, but I can't tell you." Feeling even more ashamed, Yuanlian left Zen master Zhenjue and set off on a pilgrimage, gaining wisdom from 50 teachers along the way, but still unable to attain enlightenment. One day he visited Zen master Shushan Jingnian in Hana and asked, "When a practitioner reaches the treasure mountain and returns empty-handed, what does that mean?" Shushan replied, "You return with the treasures of your own home." Yuanlian immediately became enlightened and said, "I no longer doubt the words of the Zen masters." Shushan asked, "Why is that?" Yuanlian responded, "Because I have a tongue of my own." Shushan joyfully said, "You have realized the essence of Zen." Zen wisdom. Everyone has a tongue, but few understand its true power. The tongue can uplift a nation or lead it to ruin. Some create merit with their tongue, while others cause harm. Do we fully understand the wisdom of a Zen master's words? Zen master Dogen from Japan, who lost his father at age 3 and his mother at 8, was raised by his uncle and ordained as a monk at 14. During the Song dynasty, he traveled to China to study the Dharma. While in Qingyuan, he encountered an elderly Zen master named Yuting, who was responsible for cooking at Aiyuan Temple in Zhejiang. Dogen politely invited him to stay on the ship for the night, but the old master declined, explaining he needed to buy wood ear mushrooms to prepare for the next day's meal at the temple. Dogen remarked, "Surely someone else at the temple could take your place." Yuting replied, "No, I've only just been given this duty at my old age, and I cannot easily hand it over to someone else. Besides, I haven't been granted permission to stay out overnight, and I cannot break the temple's rules." Dogen asked, "You are a senior monk, why take on such kitchen duties instead of sitting in meditation and studying sutras?" The old master laughed and said, "Young foreign monk, you don't yet understand what true practice is. Don't be surprised. Clearly, you don't know the mind of Zen or the meaning of the scriptures." Feeling ashamed, Dogen asked, "What is the mind of Zen? What is the meaning of the scriptures?" Without hesitation, the old master replied, 1345. Dogen asked again, "What is the practice?" Yuting responded, 678910. Dogen, through this encounter, learned that even the most unassuming places in the Zen world of China were filled with hidden masters. The simplicity and profound depth of the old master's words were unforgettable. Later, Dogen became the founder of the Soto Zen school in Japan, and one of his most important works was Shobogenzo, Treasury of the True Dharma I. Zen wisdom. What is the mind of Zen? What is practice? The old master's response of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is not meant to convey something tangible, but to point to the all-encompassing nature of Zen. Even 2, 3, 4, 5 cannot fully capture the essence of the mind of Zen and the meaning of the scriptures. 30. Dongshan's question on Zen. Zen master Dongshan visited Zen master Longshan, and Longshan asked, "You shouldn't walk the mountain paths. Where have you come from?" Dongshan replied, "There is no path in the mountain, and how I got here is not important. But may I ask, where did you come from?" Longshan answered, "I didn't fall from the sky, nor did I crawl out of the earth." Dongshan asked, "How many years have you been in this mountain?" Longshan replied, "There are no calendars in the mountains, and the passing of years has nothing to do with me." Dongshan asked, "So were you here before the mountain existed?" Longshan said, "I don't know." Dongshan, confused, asked, "Why don't you know?" Longshan replied, "I'm neither a mortal nor a celestial being, so how could I know?" Dongshan asked, "If you are neither human nor a god, could it be that you have become a Buddha?" Longshan said, "Not a Buddha either." Dongshan asked, "Then what are you?" Longshan said. To call me something would be incorrect. Finally, Dongshan posed his primary question. For what reason do you live in such a deep mountain? Longshan replied, Long ago I saw two oxen fighting, and they both tumbled into the sea. Since then, I've never seen them again. Upon hearing this, Dongshan bowed in reverence to Zen Master Longshan. Zen wisdom. Zen questions are often indirect and seemingly unrelated, but the profound insight lies beyond the surface of the words. Longshan's story of the oxen is a metaphor for the disappearance of dualities and conceptual distinctions, leading to the realization of the true nature of things.